Bar versus homeboard. In this video, we'll be using our percentage shortcuts to instantly gather key information about our position that we can then use and combine with other observations to start to form a reasonable opinion of risk and reward. We'll be looking at one checker on the bar, and then we'll be looking at two checkers on the bar with the long-term goal of being able to recognize these percentages in only 5 seconds. I will go through examples of each. And this video will be then followed by two quiz videos, so you can practice and build familiarity and speed. Make sure to watch this video all the way through to the end, as I will talk about two important things. First, why and when we use these numbers, and second, why building speed and confidence with these estimates is so important. Now let's look at 4 examples to see how quickly these positions can arise and the types of questions we can ask to develop a familiarity with the risk and reward in positions with checkers on the bar. Here's our first example. We win the opening roll with 5-4. And our opponent responds by rolling 3-1 and makes their 5-point on our head. So we can start asking some questions. What percentage of the time do we escape our checker? We escape with any 1, 2, 3, or 4. And using our shortcuts, 1, 2, 3, or 4, 4 and 4, gives us this one, new, is 90%. It's just like the other ones. We're just adding a fourth number. And this works out to be 90%, 88.9, but this is 90. You don't need exact numbers with these. With this, a quick estimate is good enough. So that's one question. How often do we escape? How often do we bounce and stay on the bar? If we escape 90% of the time, then we stay on the bar 10% of the time. Very easy. In our next example, we win the opening roll, again, 5-4, and our opponent rolls 3-3. Great roll for the opponent. So we start to ask some questions. What percentage of the time do we escape this checker? We escape with any 1, 2, or 4, 3 numbers, and 3 numbers is 75%. What percentage of the time do we bounce and stay on the bar? If we escape 75% of the time, then our percentage for bouncing is 25%. Easy. In our third example, we win the opening roll with 5-2. Our opponent rolls 5-5, putting 2 of our checkers on the bar. Questions are a little different. There's extra questions when you have 2 checkers on the bar. What percentage of the time do we escape with at least 1 checker? We escape with any 2, 4, or 5. Go right to our shortcut. That's 3 numbers. 75% of the time we escape with at least 1 checker. That also gives us the answer to another question. What percentage of the time do we bounce with both checkers? If we escape with at least 1 75% of the time, we leave both checkers on the bar when we roll 25% of the time. How often do we bounce with at least 1 checker? That's another question you could ask. We bounce with at least 1 checker with any 1, 3, or 6. That's 3 numbers. Again, we can use this chart for that. Any 3 numbers is 75% of the time. We bounce with at least 1 checker on this board 75% of the time. And in our last example, we win the opening roll with 5-1. Our opponent rolls 4-1, and they've been studying their opening, so they know that this is a double hit. And we can ask some questions about this. What percentage of the time do we get at least 1 checker off the bar? Well, we only bounce with 6-6 here. So that's 3%. So we get at least 1 checker off the bar 97% of the time. What percentage of the time do we get both checkers off the bar? Well, we leave 1 anytime we roll a 6, which is 1 number. So we get both checkers off the bar the rest of the time. So we leave 1 with 30%, we get both checkers off the bar 70% of the time. And just for fun, how often do we hit our opponent's blot on the 1 point? Any roll that contains a 1, you get to use the same chart here, and we hit that 30% of the time. Now, one of the nice things about having shortcuts like this is that sometimes they're completely universal. If you end up in a position like this, you have 3 open against 3, you have 1 on the bar. So there's 2 questions you ask here. How many times am I able to escape the bar? How many times do I bounce? Well, that answer is the same for this board, and for this board, and for this board, and for this board. Because we just have 3 and 3, we're able to use our same shortcut. Now, I'm also going to show you that with experience and a little practice, this is even easier and faster than I demonstrated for you, because there are only a few of these, and with time, they become very familiar and automatic to you. Let me demonstrate. Now, we've just seen how we can have a position, we can ask some basic questions, and get some quick answers using our shortcuts. But with a little bit of practice and familiarity, things change. For example, when I see this position, 2 in the air versus a 1 point board, instead of going through the whole process, to me, because I practiced, this is just a 70-30 board. If this was our board, four open, 1 in the air, this is a 90-10 board. If this is our board, 2 numbers we can escape with, 55-45. I often just call this 50-50 because of the approximation is good enough. If this was our board, when I see this, 75-25. And if this is our board, this is 75-25-75. We get off at least one 75% of the time. We bounce with both 25% of the time. And we leave at least 1 in the air 75% of the time. Now, one of the themes of this video has been, we just need approximate numbers. And this is why. Your opponent wins the opening roll with 5-4, and we get a fantastic roll, 3-3. They roll 6-6, and they bounce. What is a proper cube action? Should we be cubing our opponent? And if we do, should they take? Well, the answer to that question is, believe it or not, if it's a cash game, proper cube action is to double take. If we are behind in the match, we're trailing in the match score, it's a double pass. And if we're far enough behind at some match scores, this position is so good, it's almost too good to double. We'd almost be letting our opponent off the hook by giving them the cube and allowing them to drop. What if we were ahead in the match? We're ahead in the match far enough, it's a mistake to double, and we shouldn't even be pulling the cube out because we're giving our opponent too powerful of a cube. And if we're way ahead in the match, cubing our opponent becomes a very large blunder. So, what's the answer? What is the answer to the cube in a position like this? Well, there's 5 different answers. And we haven't even considered if it's a regular cube or a recube. Most of these positions will occur in the early part of the game where you have this type of situation where you want to glance at the board and get a quick estimate. So it's very complicated because of all the different answers. And because of this, this is why you just need a quick approximation, and you don't need a super accurate answer, because the accuracy of the answer doesn't do us any good. Now, one of the reasons that for pip counting, for things like this, for shot counting, why we want to build up speed and make some of these automatic, why we work so hard for some of our shortcuts so that we can do these things fast, is when we're presented with a position, when we're playing, sometimes we look at race count, we're looking at different threats, we're looking at our win percentage and gamma percentage for trying to get an estimate for both ourselves and our opponent. We have a lot of super overstacked points that are going to be difficult for us. Does our opponent have overstacked points or completely stripped points? This is distribution. What is the match score? As we've just seen, if you don't factor in match score, that's something you have to look at. You have to look at cube location. Is it an initial cube or are you recubing? Duplication, and there's even more concepts than this. So if you spend a minute on each of these, you're going to be spending 5 minutes per move, which we don't want to do. It takes the fun out of it. But if we can get a little faster with our pip counting, a little faster with percentages like this, a little faster with some of the things that we should start to see automatically, now instead of just looking at one, maybe two things to help us consider our moves, we can look at a much larger catalog of information, and then the game becomes a little more fun, but we're also playing better and we're winning more. So the effort to speed up some of these quick things that we can learn are going to pay back both in our win percentage and just having a better knowledge of the game, and it's more fun. So this is the end of the video. This is my method for myself for getting quick estimates of these types of positions where we have checkers on the bar versus a home board. And the two videos that follow will be quiz videos for those who want to pursue this further and get very fast at this.